How do people afford these million-dollar homes unless you are an actor or an athlete or is a politician or C-level manager or have a huge inheritances or are in real estate businesses or doctors or lawyers? What is the trick or perspective that I am not seeing? Edit business owners, sales, plumbing business, finance managers, Silicon Valley tech engineers, fast food franchise owners, TV stars, airline pilots are included to the list. Dual incomes. Large down payments either from sale of current home, inheritance, or other windfall. Otherwise there are a lot of doctors, lawyers, business executives in the world. We just bought in a pretty fancy neighborhood, houses 46K SQFT, and can tell you most of the couples we met are doctors, business owners, or engineers. Lots of doctors. Combined household income and equity from previous properties are the two main areas that you seem to be overlooking. As an example, two people making $200,000 annually with $500,000 in equity from the house they bought in 2009 could reasonably afford $1 million house. Dual income and low rates. You'd be surprised at how much you can actually afford with low rates. Level up. When you keep increasing home value every time you sell and buy another. This is usually like a 6-10 year way to work up to $1 million home. I don't know how folks can do that now on the West Coast with home prices being what they are nowadays. Seems one needs 2-4 incomes now to comfortably afford $1 million home. 10-year career white-collar professionals who are married each bring in around $200,000 in HCOL. With a $400,000 salary and a budget allowing for savings. It's doable. Getting there eventually. It's not typically first purchase most times. My wife and I are middle class upper end, to be fair. But our townhouse appreciated in value so much over the last 15 years that to upscale we'd be looking at $1.50 1.7 meters homes with only a mediocre jump in our mortgage. Many people who buy expensive homes are coming from other expensive or slightly less expensive homes. You're missing small business owner, which there are a ton of them. A lot of software engineers make bank nowadays too, and some high-level doctors and folks in investments Wall Street as well as partners in many businesses. Per Redfin 8.2 of homes are 1M and 600K are 2M. There are 124 meters households, so there are definitely enough single-income rich people and double-income rich people to fill the void. In NYC and California, 1M are not that uncommon and high incomes are common there. Low rates. The difference between a 2 rate and a 5.7 rate is nuts. Go back in time 20 years. Our trick was to get a multi-unit property. I didn't get a place as big as I wanted. And I also didn't want to be a landlord. But the tenants' payments were what enabled us to afford the $1 million house. After reading through comments here, I learned that everyone makes $300,900K. Family money help is a big one. Everyone here is right about doctors, lawyers, engineers and small business owners making enough to own $1 million property. But there's also plenty of rich people that own multiple properties, so that skews the numbers a bit. A family clearing $500K a year might own a single $1.5 million house. A family clearing $10 million a year might own 5. Technology sector. Consultants. Engineers. Hell, my parents' neighbor owns a plumbing business and his house is worth almost 2M. Dual income, no kids, no credit card debt. A budget. 2 earners. Marketing, software engineering, IT management all make good money too. Software engineers too. Those making $400,000 can comfortably afford a $1 million home. Even easier with a spouse making a similar amount. You're missing finance and sales. Especially sales. Especially sales and finance. One of the many things my retail lending job has taught me is there are many more super rich people in the US than I had ever imagined. And for some of those people, 4 or 5 homes isn't enough. Why are they getting mortgages if they're so rich? That's part of how they stay rich. They don't spend their own money. Like a prole. Many have interest-only loans on $25 million plus homes. Do the math on Palm Beach big homes. The annual appreciation is typically higher than the annual interest payments. They buy an appreciable asset. Damn near zero risk for the lender. My parents were poor and didn't have rich families or lucrative jobs. They always bought the worst homes in the best areas. Spent a few years fixing them up. And then sold just to buy the worst home in the better area. Rinse and repeat for 40 years. But they went from a tiny duplex to a nice place in a very nice neighborhood. Granted, they paid for it. That's a lot of stress physically and emotionally. And it really sucked for the kids who had to help as we got older. Still, I do the same thing now. I have the skills. Even if they weren't voluntarily gained. Might as well make use of them. Dual combined income of $300, $400,000 is enough to buy $1 million home. You don't have to be wealthy. That income is not uncommon. Your perspective is just what's around you. Sometimes Reddit gives an unrealistic perspective where everyone is overeducated, underemployed, and poor. My house in CA is worth $1.5 million. It's a standard SFH. 2,400 square feet. Nothing particularly remarkable about it. Our neighborhood is populated with some older blue-collar workers. Lots of white-collar middle manager types are profile. Newer entrants are higher-profile doctors, lawyers and tech people. We bought this house with a low rate in 2019 by rolling our equity in from our starter home. Purchased a few years before. Lots of households have 2 adults earning $125,000 each. You can afford $1 million house in many cities on that income if you don't have a lot of other debt. Opposite of what you're asking, not rich. No family handouts. Bought as young 20-somethings in Arizona after moving from California. Paid $180,000 in 2012 for a new build in a golf community. Homes have resold on our street multiple times and now worth $700,000. But I'm not giving up my $700 mortgage. I clear $200,000 a year and have no reason to move. Requires money. Sales is another profession you left out. Look how many businesses there are in your town. Each owner there probably has a nice house. Think about all the people in the nearby city who have a house out there too. If each town has, let's say, 20 high-income people, then yeah, it's actually a shortage of nice houses for wealthy folks. So they move to areas that are up and coming and continue building wealth. Lol, it's a machine, man. Get in and ride as long as you can. $1 million homes are the norm in Northern Virginia. Probably $6K month, which is pretty doable for a couple making $20K month, $250K year. People in my company in their early 30s make that. To me, it's not about being able to buy a mill house but having to pay tax and insurance for it. In Texas, and our property tax is almost 2.6. 2010-2020 was one of the best bull markets. People put early money into stocks and some got lucky with the picks. The money to buy homes doesn't really come from hourly wages. It comes from investments growing. I fucked a rapper.